to be with you again. My name is Engineer Mouse again, and we'll be continuing from where we stopped in our last class. Okay. In our last class or previous class, we had introduced for this course that Nebosh Health and Safety Management System. We had introduced ourselves to the course, the foundation, and then we went on to take the first part. I believe you can see my screen. This is a pictorial representation of the health and management, the whole of this program or this course with respect to our curriculum for this program. And here you can see that we talked in our previous class, the immediate past class, we talked about the planning aspect. We talked about policy and planning, and let's see if I can zoom so you can see some of the okay. I believe you can see clearly. Okay, so from here you can see that every of these sections we'll be dealing with in this course are connected to themselves. Okay, they're connected to each other. We have the first part, which is plan. Then that after foundation, which was one, we went on to the next module, which is plan. And from plan, we went on to do, check, memo, we went on to do, and we're in do right now today. We'll be going on to check and act. Okay, then it's very important that we take this very serious, take this course really very serious. Okay. All right. Now we deal with the next element, which is do. Everything we're talking about here is on do. Do encompasses three aspects: risk profiling, organizing, and implementing. All right, risk profiling, organizing, and implementing. Now, what do is actually talking about is the summary of responsibilities, basically organizing for health and management system. We'll be looking at everybody involved in health and safety, their individual responsibility. All right, starting from the employer. All right, I think we're getting the concept clearly now. All right. Excuse me. Now, an employer is responsible basically for the health and safety of number one, the employers and workers. Then he is also responsible for the contractors, the health and safety of his contractors. He's also responsible for the health and safety of his visitors. And he's also responsible for the health and safety of the general public. You must know that. So if you're an organization or an employer, the health and safety of your employee, the 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 that's the employees and your workers, all classes, all the cadre, all the categories of your workers or employees, they are responsible for that for them. And then you're also responsible for contractors and the rest of them. All right. So when we're looking at the health and safety responsibility, we look at it from first the directors or senior managers, and we look at the middle managers and supervisors, then we look at safety specialists and other aspects, even manufacturers, contractors, and the rest of them. We'll be looking at individual responsibilities. First, we look at the responsibilities of the employers or the um, directors or senior managers. Okay, some things I might be saying I like the fact that you can see both screens. So I'm sure you must have taken screenshots of the assignments already. But I'll be opening this up later on. I'll go back to the assignment. Yeah. Okay, some things that I'll be saying, or I'll be saying, like as usual, not all have been put here. This is just bullet points for reminder purpose of going beyond what we have here. So please, I appreciate if you can take notes. I'm not just screenshotting the screen, that's it, but just also ensuring that you are taking notes of some salient points. Okay. Now, um, talking about the responsibility of the employer or of the directors, for instance, okay, if we are looking at that, we'll look at the first thing. First, yes, safety of the workplace. Now, safe workplace is your responsibility. Remember, I talked to you about something called the duty of care. Now, we have a duty of care as an employer to ensure a safe workplace. In fact, the Health and Safety Act of 1974 requires that an employer must ensure that they create or provide a safe place amongst many other um, uh, some other requirements. Okay. Now, this responsibility of the employer is even also backed by the by the Health and Safety Act of 1974. All right. So let's move. As I was saying, the employer is responsible for what? It's responsible for creating a safe workplace. Definitely, your area of work should be such that the risk is as low as readily accessible. The responsibility of the employer to ensure that. So he engages people. That's why we have safety to our advisors or supervisors or managers to be handling of this part. But he must ensure that these people are supported, the techniques are supported, and giving all the necessary material backings as are needed. All right. So another part it ensures that as I said, it ensures that it's suitable for and sufficient the sorry, not suitable, not just suitable. Okay, let me put it this way. The director or the employer must ensure that he has a suitable and sufficient policy. Remember we talked about policy in our previous classes. We mentioned something that politics can change. We mentioned some factors that can lead to the change in policy, like time, change in technology, change in legislation, and the rest of that. That's just a recap. Even reports from audit. That's just a recap of our last time. All right. Now, this director must ensure the provision of sufficient or enough policy to cover all these operations, safety, health and safety policy. And it is usually endorsed by the most senior management, level of management. All right. Another thing again that the director or senior manager must ensure is that they show leadership and commitment to health and safety. All right. We also ensure provision of welfare. Then, um, apart from what we have, part of what we have there, to, they do not charge employees for health and safety measures. What that actually means that here, what this actually means here is something that we talked about in the previous class. We said they provide training for in especially internal training and even external training at no cost. It should be part of the investment or the responsibility of the senior management to provide trainings for their employees. All right. Another thing is the provision of PPE. So at no cost, it should not be taken off your salary or charged. You should not be asked to make payment for PPE as personal protective equipment. All right. So we provide necessary resources for achieving health and safety objectives. It's also very important that they provide the necessary resources for achieving that. Okay. Then after they will look at more responsibilities. Yeah, they also ensure that they carry out a regular review of health and safety performance of the organization at management level. Very important that we carry out regular review of the health and safety performance of the organization at management level. Then it's also the duty of the employer to assign a senior manager to be in charge of health and safety. The senior manager should be in charge of health and safety. The reason is if you don't have a senior manager in health and safety, there's a likelihood that people will want to flaunt the rules or break the rules or regulations of health and safety in such organization. I hope we're following. Alright. Then we look at the health and safety responsibility of um, okay, yeah, for employees. So the health and safety responsibility of employees. I'll put it this way. Okay, I'll give you more than what we have here. Now, first is your responsibility to ensure that you do not endanger yourself or others. That is called the duty of care. Also, okay. Then number two is for you must cooperate with your employer, especially on matters regarding health and safety. Then you should also consult with your employer before dangerous situation. Now, I've talked about this in our very first class when we were talking about responsibilities. Okay. Then, but when we now look at it this way, the health and safety responsibilities of middle managers and supervisors, they are still employees, but now in this case, middle managers and supervisors in particular, then they are health and safety responsibilities. One of it is for them to always ensure every process that their jurisdictions, the health and the rules and regulations are, are compliant with and they must ensure compliance every of the rules under their jurisdiction. So they are responsible for the health and safety of those who report to them directly. Alright, so those who report to the senior managers and supervisors or middle managers, sorry, and supervisors, um, their health and safety is the responsibility of these people, the senior managers, the middle managers and supervisors. Then another thing I quickly need to mention is that they're also responsible for incident reporting and investigation. Incident reporting and investigation, the statement of the order for incident reporting and investigation, and they are also responsible for supervision and monitoring process within the area of their influence. Alright? So that's well understood. Then if there's a part that we to talk about the responsibility for safety advisors or safety specialists. And as a safety specialist, you have the responsibility of enforcing authority, fire service and rescue service. Now, it's your responsibility to provide professional advice and guidance to the organization or maybe how to implement good standards of health and safety. Not maybe, but how to implement good standards. That is your responsibility. How should we implement it? Okay, we can, you are engaged as, if you are engaged as a safety specialist or advisor officer and all that, you look at the system, you look at what is already on ground, you look at the activities, the operation and all that, then you should be able to pick out the flaws, the areas that need to be improved on, that need to be worked on, and you must advise them. It's your responsibility to provide counseling or advice or guidance, you know, in those areas. Now, you also ensure that the organization has suitable health and safety policy. Now, this is what I mean. In an organization that is not engaged in some kind of operation will not need some kind of policy that are regarding such operations. This is what for instance, there's no need for you, or if you cannot be having um, maybe a policy that covers marine operations when they don't do, when they are not engaged in any form of marine operation. When the organization is not engaged in any form of marine operation, to be it will be funny or ridiculous for you to start having policies cover marine operation. Now, I just use this as an example because I've seen that happen before. Trying to consult for a company, and they were preparing for an audit, and they had engaged safety that was just coming from a company that was involved in marine operation or something, yeah, some kind of marine operation start where the person was coming from, or they want to get policies, so they just adopted those policies, and they were going to have a naked audit. That would have been yeah, the you know. They made it clear that yeah, you can't do this, you can't use this, you can't. They arguing that they know where this thing is coming from, I guess. But I have to make them, we have to make them understand that hey, this thing is not. When they were getting and they still left one or two of those policies I wanted to have it. When we had the first talk of the ridicule, seriously ridicule for leaving such policies that don't concern their own creation. So it just because some people just adopt policies, they just do copy and paste, which is the style of Nigeria. They just do a lot of copy and pasting without even going through what or how it affects or relates to our operations. Okay. The same thing that's happening, the similar case we're having with the management of this COVID-19 pandemic. That's a discussion for another time. I'm not going to that. All right. So, quickly, as a safety specialist, too, you will have a yeah, testimony in promoting health and safety culture and attitude. There's also the health and safety culture and attitude. We'll be looking at that going to probably I'm going to uh, four. Okay. Added to that, too, the in carrying out it's your responsibility when it comes to carrying out risk or ROA. ROA, that is risk assessment, or CROA, critical risk assessment, and developing or development of operating procedures or what called work methods. Okay, work methods or operating procedures, step by step breakdown of how operations are going to be carried out for every task or activity that the organization is involved in. All right, so those are part of the responsibility. And also, that is health and or as a safety supervisor or advisor, you must be involved in the incident investigation. Any incident in the organization, you must be involved in the investigation. Yes, it's also your responsibility. All right. Um, then from there, um, there's another part of it. Have to also quickly mention. We consider the health and safety for crime contract. Okay, we can go to that. For self-employed, let me quickly mention this, please. Take note of. For self-employed and contractors. For self-employed and for those that are self-employed and for contractors, one key part that we must take to carry out their responsibility, health and safety one, is to carry out their work in a manner that will not negatively affect others or themselves. It's also like a duty of care. Okay, so what do I mean? Whether you're self-employed or you're contractor, you must ensure that when you're carrying out your activity, it will not have a negative impact. It will not cause injury or harm or damage, yeah, to persons or assets of the environment or the reputation of the organization or those around, community around you, the environment. Okay. Um, you won't say because you're a contractor, you carry out some kind of operations that will involve combustion and you just pollute, cause air pollution heavily, and you feel, oh no, it's not affecting anybody in that area, but it will be affecting people, sorry, in that company directly. But it affects the environment, people in the neighborhood, right? So that's very crucial. And then we look at uh, um, yeah, relationship with outside relationship outside the organization. You know, now talking about relationships outside the organization, we're looking at the enforcing of authority, fire and rescue services. You know, then um, like the enforcing authorities in some states, we have the environmental agencies that usually will come around to inspect your facilities to see you guys are really complying with the proper health and safety practices and the rest of it. We also have some other people that maybe they are meant for security enforcement and the rest of it. Then you have the fire service and rescue. You know, I think a lot of us are very familiar with that. Though we it used to be an epileptic sector in the Nigerian, well, some people say it is still, but I think over the years or in the recent past, a couple of improvements have been made with the fire service, especially. Then we also look at insurance companies. Yeah, it's very important that, yes, it's very important that you, as an organization, you have a good relationship with your insurance company. Why? Because or you even have insurance first of all, insurance cover for your assets, for your personnel, um, and other valuable things you could insure. Okay. Remember we talked about when we're talking about costs, we talked about insured and uninsured costs. There are some costs that you have to insure. Okay. Especially with what to do with your assets or the health of your personnel. That's the reason um, some companies do have the ownership change. They have an agreement with them or even with some OHM, you know. Then for assets, they are ensure their equipment or maybe like some that are into logistics and all that. I think it was in this class I talked about the organization that they are one of the drivers was so careless or what was at risk and drove recklessly and their truck with products um, overturned, like some assault, what you call some assault, overturned, and the truck was damaged beyond repair. The truck had damaged beyond repair. A lot of products were lost and all that. That would have been a big loss to the organization because the clients they are carrying those products for will not want to just out of sympathy ignore such costs or bear such costs. No. So eventually the insurance company, because that truck was insured, they were able to get over such losses. Right? So it's very important. I will do all this. Okay. We also have the health and safety responsibility of the controller of the premise. Yeah, that one is like the security or environment management or facility management for the premises. Now, one of his responsibilities is to ensure the safety of the outer environment, and another is for him to ensure the safe means of assessment of access, what called egress and or access and egress, okay, from the premises. Access and egress, that's entry and exit in safely use term access and egress in GRI. Alright, so I'll be changing the system shortly or in no time. But it's very important that you take a screenshot of this assignment, okay, and to submit on or before um, 6 p.m. on Thursday, 14th of this month. Please ensure you make use of this subject, SON 601 assignment 3, and put the name of your center and state. When I say make use of this subject, some of you still send your mail without doing that. Your email will get lost. It's not a cost. This is what I mean. If you are sending a mail, you say engineer at then this is where subject is SON 601 blah 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 assignment one. After typing that, then you put your body, okay, there's a kindly find attached blah blah blah. After copy or whatever you need to attach and you send. That's what it means. If you do anything other than that, take to a different subject. I'm sorry, you might not even get your you might not get to see your your mail when I'm looking for them. Because a lot of mails come into that. But I hope you can all hear me. I want to believe you can hear me and that is perfectly understood. Alright. Um this is the assignment. Number one here is for you to give the meaning of the term health and safety culture. Then also identify factors that result in poor health and safety culture, uh, limitations in labor written graphic or comfort, discuss this um, shortly. Then the meaning of safe systems of work in order. So let's take a snapshot of this. Then by uh, uh, connecting with, as I said earlier, to another device. So you might not be seeing everything. So you please, it's already on standby. So please connect the other device. Just a few minutes. Okay. Okay. I believe you can see the question clearly. If that's so, I'll like change over to another system. All right. So, looking at the health and safety culture, when we're talking about health and safety culture, Salome, please, can you
Engineer, ma, please share your screen.
Okay, I hope we've been able to capture that. I have to change to this device. I might not be able to share much, but please pay rapt attention as much as you can. All right. So when we're talking about health and safety culture, we're looking at the you know, when you say culture, culture is the shared. We're looking at the shared beliefs or values or attitudes, and the way of um, operations or doing things with people in an organization, you know, in relation to health and safety. That's what we call health and safety culture. Shared values, attitude or beliefs, and way of operations with people in an organization with respect or as regards health and safety itself. Okay. Now, positive culture usually will lead to positive health and safety performance, and negative culture, you know, the consequence of that. And then we have what we call the indicators that also help us to assess health and safety culture. There are a few of them, about 5 to 6 of them, or thereabout. Number one of the indicator that can make you tell that, oh, this organization, they are having a very good or positive safety culture, is when you look at the accident rate. If the accident rate is very low, or you don't even have accidents occurring at all in their records, then um, they have a very good health and is a sign or an indicator for very good health and safety culture. Another one is sickness rate also. Sickness rate, yes, the operations or the activities that an organization carries out can affect the health of the personnel and can make them can also be can also reflect in how often they get sick, or you know. So sickness rate. Another one is staff turnover. Then we also look at workers complain, how the workers complaints too. You can generally, yeah, many people always complain about some place, but there are basic complaints that will indicate that, oh, these people, these organizations health and safety culture is low or is negative, you know. Then another one is enforcement actions, the actions that are taken to enforce the law or to enforce compliance to safety laws and or rules and regulation. Okay, that's part of those are part of the indicators. Then um, we also have to look at factors that can help to promote positive um, health and safety culture. One of it is effective communication. If you communicate often, regularly, yeah, you discover that it will be easy for you to continuously remind the people to make them understand and see why they should comply with the safety rules and regulations. And in so doing, a positive culture, they will imbibe that positive culture of to health and safety system. Okay. Then another one is equal priority to health and safety. Equal priority. Everybody should have an equal priority to um
to health and safety. Yes, what is good for the goose should also be good for the gander. Then consultation with workers. We still have some other on, like consultation with workers, accident investigation. That is also another one. Um, yeah, accident investigation. If you investigate as what's the root cause, you carry out a root cause, what we call RCA, that's a root cause analysis. You could use a bow tie to indicate that these are HSC 123 um, um, topics. You carry out accident investigation, you carry out the thorough investigation. That also shows, or that's the factor. Those are some of the factors that could promote positive health and safety. And the reverse are factors that promote negative health and safety. Some of them is blame culture. You want to always trade blame, trade instead of finding out solution. Another one is lack of resources. Yes, that could also bring negative health and safety culture. And then giving low priority to health and safety. Yeah, there are some organizations that the directors or the senior managers, they just look at it that safety is always consuming money, is always having safety will always involve spending. They don't see the profit in terms of financial profit. But the truth is, the advantage of safety may not be seen directly, but you feel it indirectly because you are not making any losses if you imbibe a very good safety culture. But many don't see it that way. So we usually say in safety that if you think accident is sorry, if you think safety is expensive, then try accident. We all know the cost. We've talked about the cost of accidents, direct and indirect cost, insured and uninsured cost. And you can now start seeing the consequence of such negligence, all right, to safety. Um Now, these are more factors that affect or negatively promote safety. All right. Then we also have to talk about the if please read up on effective management of peer influence and the factors that influence health and safety behaviors. We have three of them: organizational factor, talking about culture, leadership, and the rest. We also have task. That's nature of the nature of your task, the kind of workload, and the environment, and the rest of them. Then we'll have individual. That's like the characteristics of an individual, the attitudes or competency or experience or knowledge level or motivation or even perception of an individual. These are factors that can what now affect yeah, some of the factors that could influence behavior. Okay, then we have organizational or how to promote or improve the behavior of workers. Top management, by if management should demonstrate their own commitment, show what we call leadership by example. They show their commitment and compliance to health and safety. Workers will be motivated to also comply. If you see your boss always coming to the work area and he's with his hard hat, his safety boots, his maybe safety goggles, maybe necessary mask and hand gloves, and even the PPE is well kitted, and is coming to the whenever he's coming to the work area and is complying to every safety rules and regulation. In pidgin, they say when they're not born you well, say you not go do am. So you have to definitely comply to such regulations. All right. Then another thing that is very important is communication. In communication, we have three types. We have the verbal, three ways of communication. We have the verbal, we have the written, and we have the graphic. When we're talking about the verbal, we are looking at trainings, public address system. That's use public address system, mics, and all the rest to with loudspeakers to address people or communicate. Then sometimes you also have safety meetings. Safety meetings, your two boss meetings and your safety meetings, or what we call pep talks, pre-execution plan talks. Those are verbal. They are verbal ways of communicating. Then written, you could have memos, you could have emails, you could have maybe handbooks, some use flyers, or posters and signposts and the rest of them. Those ones are written. Then in graphic, sorry, signpost with signs and symbols will fall under graphic. Okay. Yeah, some posters too could be graphic. Some posters could graphically represent what you want to say. You go around, and these are things that even during audit, external audit, or um, your clients, when you have these things around, people would, it already speaks that okay, these people are consciously reminding themselves of safety rules and regulations. When you have those signs, especially the graphic signs and the rest of them, your safety meetings, you have them recorded and you have it shared. You have the minutes of the meeting communicated to everybody. You also have lesson in your safety meetings. You share what we call LFI, lesson from incidents. You take examples of incidents that have happened before. You discuss it in your meeting. You analyze it. You learn, take lessons from there, and you see positive improvement. You see even the lay people, even the less educated amongst them, will also be complying complete to safety rules. When you see that, then another area is that you're able to break down the communication such that the layest, permit me to use that word, the layest amongst them, the most illiterate amongst them, amongst the workforce, can understand what is expected of him or her to do with respect to safety um, in in um, in the workplace, even at home. Now, another thing I need to really point out here is, which is very key, is that many of us, especially in this our society that we have within Nigeria, because basically we have a poor orientation of safety or a poor background of safety generally. Many people start getting to know about safety when they get to their workplace. Many of you here taking this course, you are privileged to be learning this in your MSc program. Many as many of us, many people, there are many people in the society that never had that privilege. Many of us had to learn it from work or because of the nature of our jobs and the rest of that. You know, so it is one disadvantage that cuts across every strata is that most times people take safety serious at work, then they get home and they relax, then you start having domestic accidents happening, which is even more life threatening, which is even more life threatening. So safety should be a way of life. Your safety culture should be something you practice both at home, at work, anywhere you go and everywhere you go, just like MTN. All right. Okay, so another key now when we're talking about each of these forms of communication, they have their merits and demerits. Okay, now like some of the merits or and limitations of verbal communication. In the merits, you can say that the information is personal and direct. When it comes to verbal communication, it's usually personal and direct. That's one of the merits. Then it also allows room for clarification or correction and feedbacks because you are communicating directly. It's like an interaction. So it's an interactive session. And interactive sessions give opportunity for communication and feedbacks. Okay, where areas are not clear. Then another thing is that it allows additional information to be expressed. You can express additional information by using the tone of your voice or body language, because it's direct communication. Uh, you know, uh, on a lighter note, there's a difference between and mm and 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 there's a difference. Or they are all different, rather, you know. Uh, but they all have the same sound, but the tone behind it is different. Some of us while growing up, there's when you go to your neighbor, your a visitor's place, and your mom, and they ask you, "Ah, are you going to eat? What are you going to eat, Junior? What are you going to eat?" And you just pick up anything. Yes, I'll eat rice. I'll eat rice. Your mom might just make one sound like that sound alone. That's a direct communication, you know. Okay, so sometimes even when you are speaking, because you are speaking, you could use the tone of your voice to express or to lay emphasis on some kind of communication. Then it is cheap. Like they say, talk is cheap. It is not expensive at all. You can speak, you can talk, so it is very cheap to achieve. But the limitation of verbal communication is that you have background noise and distraction sometimes in such cases. Okay, like what we're having right now is more of a more of verbal communication. Okay, like what I'm saying, if I have to change the tone of my voice, if I have to shout and all that stuff, you all may feel the vibration or the seriousness of, but if I have background noise around me, sometimes I might be taking a lecture and the admin, Mr. Yomi, might just tell me, Engineer Emma, there's background noise. There's some noise in your background. There's some noise in your background. Maybe it's a generator set that is on or something, or some people just making noise within the neighborhood and all that. But it will affect. Okay, so that's like a disadvantage too. All right. Now it does not provide proof of recording, especially when it is direct. But this one, because we are using an app, yeah, some people can be able to record from some ends and the rest of that. Okay. Then you have also for written, it has written, it can be documented. That's some of the merits. It can be communicated in various languages. You can use various languages. So you still have the merits and the demerits for graphic and all that. And I'll recommend that you take time to also go through that. Okay, the limitations and all. Now, safety meetings are very important. They are very important. Now, yeah, safety meetings, to ensure effectiveness of a safety meeting, number one, adequate representation of management and workers. I mentioned that earlier when I said the compliance leadership, by example, the management showing commitment to the safety meetings, to the practice, to the rules and regulation is very important. Now safety meetings again, you must also issue notification about the safety meeting or about safety committee meeting early, so that people have different activities they are carrying out. So if you are going to have a safety meeting, it's good you indicate or you give an early notice of such meetings. Okay, then the agenda for the meeting, draw out an agenda for every meeting, crucial points you want to discuss or you want to bring to bear, and then you have room for any other business or any other stuff. Then in the subsequent meeting, ensure that the decisions that were taken from the previous meeting, you are able to redress it and see how effective or how well it has been implemented. It is very key that this is done. Now, when you are scheduling a meeting, you also schedule at appropriate time so that workers will be free to attend. Not a time that will be too tight for workers to attend. Then when we're talking about training, training is needed when workers are
Engineer Emma,
newly.
time up.
Okay, 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. When
Engineer
workers are
Emma,
newly
second,
recruited,
time up.
okay, in a minute. When workers are newly recruited, or when we have change to procedures, we need meetings, trainings rather, or then we also have refresher trainings or job specific trainings. All right, I'll hold it here until our next class, and please ensure you take those assignments very seriously and read or study ahead of class too. Revise what we've studied and also read more than what we've even studied. Thank you and God bless. We'll see by God's grace in the next class. Please ensure you use the proper subjects for your assignment when you are mailing it. It's preferable when you even attach the assignment. So you maybe type on or write on a Word document and attach it to the mail. That will be very good. Please avoid lifting. That's plagiarism. All right, or copying also. Okay. Um. There are some other areas I would like you to go read up. Advantages of PPE. What's PPE and the advantages and the limitations of PPE? Why is PPE described as a last resort? Categories of safety signs and symbols. We have the prohibition signs, the mandatory signs, the warning signs. We have the safety condition or information signs, and we have the fire signs also. Yeah, please try to um, read that up or do some studies on that. I usually use an acronym PMWSF to talk about those categories of safety signs for warning signs. They have their coloration too. You know, Prohibition signs are usually white, white circles, red edges, then black image inside. That's a prohibition sign. you know then mandatory sign is usually blue circle with white image, like when you're approaching a roundabout, for instance. All right, thank you very much, um Mr. Yomi. All right, so